Hey guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage. We're working on the 39 Forgotten Hot Rod project. Stuff is just getting fun because things aren't dirty and rusty and greasy anymore. So we have our frame that's all dressed up, painted, really nice looking now, and now we're ready to start putting things together. So really what I want to do is try and get all the stuff that is a huge pain in the butt when the body's on done now. So what we're going to work on today is taking care of all the routing of the brake lines, redoing the brakes, getting everything ready to go for the brake system, getting it all plumbed. So what we're going to be using today is a bunch of really great products. So we're using, first of all, Old Yankee Speed Co hooked us up. We mentioned in another video. They hooked us up with their master cylinder adapter. This basically lets you to take a single circuit master cylinder like what came stock on early Fords and install a later dual circuit master cylinder to give you that safety in case you have a brake line below, you still have like your rear or front brakes. It gives you that little bit of peace of mind. So with this, you can run a Mustang 2, I believe it is, style master cylinder with this adapter kit. Or you can run a similar master cylinder that will fit. So I was talking to Matt, and they have a master cylinder that puts the brake lines on the other side. So if you're doing the Mustang style, it puts the brake lines really close to the X section of the cross member, and it may make it a little more difficult with plumbing the lines. So what he suggested is a, believe it or not, AMC Gremlin master cylinder. What I found by cross-referencing some part numbers, because surprise, surprise, you walk into a Napa or a local auto parts store and say, yeah, I need a master cylinder for a Gremlin, and they just laugh at you. So I don't want to be that embarrassed. Sorry if you had a Gremlin. So I went in and cross-referenced the part numbers and found that a early CJ5 Jeep used like the same master cylinder, and they have 4 drums, so you're able to use this master cylinder that has the ports on the driver's side of the master cylinder, so you have a lot more space for routing your brake lines. So we're not going to be going with a factory routing of the brake lines, but with doing the brakes like this, we're going to have to do them kind of custom anyway, so totally cool with it. So got our master cylinder here just from the local auto parts store. The other thing that we've gotten is, this is a huge help, and I order this kit pretty much every single time I do an old Ford. I pretty much order this kit, and it's the easiest way if you guys are trying to redo hydraulic brakes on a early Ford is by using Max hydraulic brake rebuild kit. So they sell basically a kit that's everything you need to redo the brakes on an early Ford, and it's all in one kit. So we have all of this stuff. Max was awesome and hooked us up with a brake rebuild kit. I spend like half my year's salary probably at Max as it is with buying all the little parts we need when we're putting a car together. So it was really nice that they were able to help us out in this video. So definitely, if you guys need a brake kit, keep them in mind for one of these hydraulic brake kits. We'll drop the link down below for all of these products so you guys can see them. But the kit comes with all the stuff that you can see right here. So now what we're going to work on is getting the brake lines run. We're going to show you guys the process along the way, and hopefully you guys can learn a couple of things and sit back and watch us do the hard work. Okay, so we're getting ready to start mounting up the Old Yankee adapter here. One thing I'll note is that the adapter has these, this little, the way the edges are for the bolt, the way it's shaped, Depending on the car you're putting this on, you may have to put a little notch in this little speed hole to mount it in. So when we were putting it on, it was just barely hitting in the back a little bit. So rather than clearance this, where you may thin out the edges where the bolt goes through, I just took a little carbide burr and just notched it just a little bit with the carbide burr. Now it fits up, and we can basically line everything up and put these little countersunk newfangled socket Allen doggers in there. That's a technical term.
Quite descriptive, man.
Yeah. Put these guys in there. Now nobody knocked me points because we're putting Allen bolts in a period correct hot rod.
It's under the floor, you can't see it. As long as the flathead screws are visible.
So we should have machined some screws that were flatheads to put in here.
Didn't we do that on the T?
Alright, so any of you guys that saw the Tools That Don't Suck video on the drum puller, this is a good one. This drum is like really stuck on, so I couldn't just tighten the handle and pop it off. It's actually like tighter than I can get it. So this is where you need the drum puller, where you can hammer on the end to vibrate it and then also tighten it. So there it went. There we go. This thing is so clean. And we just pulled this off. Car's been sitting in a junkyard since the 60s, and those drums are like still shiny. It's crazy. So we'll clean these ones up, check them, make sure they got good meat on them, grease everything up, and swap out the parts. Alright, so we got the brake lines all set up as far as the soft lines go. So a lot of times on a car like this, I like to do it this way, where we set all the soft lines up, get them connected in the brackets, clipped in. Same thing over here. It's a little bit of a learning curve for me because I haven't done one of these 3940s before. This is my first time redoing one. So there's some of these little unions and things like that that I just had in a bag when I took the car apart, and I kind of forgot where it went. So I have the soft lines in with the unions. We have the dual circuit master cylinder in place, bench bled. That's all good to go. Then over here we have the other soft line that comes over with a unique union that's there, that actually this union, the hard line comes out here, goes all the way down, and then the other one comes out over here, and it actually runs down the wishbone all the way to the back and then up to the wheel cylinder. So now we have all those in place, and the master cylinder in place. That kind of gives me my setup where I can route all my lines. So like we do a lot of other times, I'm going to take some TIG rod, bend that up, and that will give me all my little areas where we need to put different bends, so I can recreate that in brake line. We're going to be using this copper nickel brake line that I love to use because it's super easy to bend. I've already straightened it out with the Eastwood tubing straightener, so I got a long straight section here to work with, and we'll be good to go. So I'm going to work on plumbing all these brake lines and getting them clipped in place, and we'll be ready to soon bleed the master cylinder. Alright, so this is one of the reasons I really like this copper nickel line, because when you get it fitted in, a lot of times you make your pattern with the TIG rod and it's maybe the bend's a little sharper than you can make with it with the actual brake line. And what I do is I kind of get it roughed in, or get the start of it with our pattern, and then you can kind of, it's pretty forgiving, so we can actually kind of bend with our fingers. I can usually bend it around my finger and make a nice bend and get it basically where I want it. And then I can do my last little bend right here all by hand once it's on the car. So that's something that if you're using stainless or even steel brake line, it ends up kind of collapsing. So with this copper nickel, it's nice and soft, so it's really user friendly. So what I can do is kind of just work it around and get it to basically do what I want. Just by bending it, sometimes by hand. You can use a bender obviously, but sometimes in in tight situations like this, I find it's better that I actually make it the bend by hand nice and slow, and it actually works out a little better because you can't always have a bender that matches exactly the shape that you need. So I can make a nice bend like that and kind of just adjust it a little bit as we go, but that basically will get me pretty darn close to where we want right there. And I can just tweak it after we get the line fitted, but this gives me enough that I can put the other fitting here, this end. I'll probably take a little bit out of this bend here so we can fit it in the brake tool a little easier, and then I can just kind of go back with it. This stuff doesn't work harden or break. If you're only doing a couple little tweaks, it actually, like I said, it's forgiving. So now that I got this one for the brake feed back there, I can flare this last line, get it tightened in, and then we're pretty good for that, and we can work forward. Alright, so we're back over the Eastwood flaring tool here, the Pro Flaring tool. This thing is amazing. I say it in like every video that we do that's brake tools. If you don't have one of these, you are definitely missing out, because it makes flaring so nice. So I wanted to kind of cover while I'm doing this, I've gotten a couple questions from people that had this tool that said they had problems with splitting copper nickel line or making it like ultra deformed. They couldn't get good flares out of it. What I've actually found is it takes a kind of soft, not soft, but takes a little bit more of a delicate touch than steel, or definitely stainless steel, and you can't pull really hard with this copper nickel line because it's not quite as difficult to flare it. So what I like to do is you can really feel, I don't pull like all the way till there's a, till you can't pull anymore. What I usually do is I pull on operation 1, I can kind of feel where it starts to have good resistance and it's pretty much stopped. I don't pull it, I could pull it further, but that's how you end up splitting it. So pull it to there, go to the operation 2, and then same thing, pull, but it's not near as hard of a pull. It's like only the right there. So you notice we only pulled maybe, I don't know, 20 degrees or something like that. And that's basically all you need to do. I'll loosen this up. And there's our brake line. So there's proof that this does copper nickel brake line, no problem. It just takes a little bit more of a delicate touch because it is softer line. So of course, it's not going to take as much effort to flare it as stainless or normal steel. So you got to put away the gorilla muscles and be a little more delicate when you're doing this. So now we can fit this one to the car with this nice, perfect flare. rear brake lines here. I got the front ones all laid out. I'm really happy with them. Just got to do the rear two here. So on this 40 or 39 Ford here, there's this neat little like union that has the soft line goes into it, and then it has like a 90 where the two lines come out for the rear brake lines. They run along the rear radius rods or wishbones. It runs along the side of those with some little clips, which I just painted and have them sitting. But one thing I wanted to mention, it's really made my life easier when I'm making brake lines like this, is I usually lay out all my soft lines like I showed you. I'll thread all the fittings into these lines, or into the unions in each spot, just to, number one, make sure that I have all my unions, which is obviously really important, and you're not halfway through the project and you're one fitting short. The other reason I do it is I basically use that for helping to guide and hold my brake line. So I will take the brake line and actually slide it right into the fitting that I'm working on. And as I've been showing you guys, you can bend a lot of this copper nickel by hand. So I will take that, fit it into the brake union, push it into it, pretty much touches, so we know that it's touching the flared area where it actually will seat. And then I will start doing my bends or my tweaking of the line. So I want to go just down a little bit right here so it can hit this little bracket we're going to have. So it'll go down like that. Then I can just kind of run it along, making sure that it's kind of stuck in that fitting there that we have. Then I can go all the way back. Obviously it's pretty straight on the rear wishbones. And then back here where it's going to go up and over the axle here, that's where I can actually start bending it to get it to go over. So I'll get these bent up. I'm probably going to cut this now that I know about what I need here. I can cut the line, because I actually straightened the whole entire line out, what was left, because I wasn't sure if I had enough line in this first spool to do all the rear lines here, but I think I'm going to be close. So I'm going to just rough cut it. So cut there. Alright, so now I can pull that out, seat it back in, knowing that I'm going to have to cut it again. If I would have had my clips, it would have probably made my life a little easier, because I could have clipped it in each of them, but I forgot to paint them, so they are drying right now. So I know actually I cut that just about perfect. So I should be able to flare each end of this. Take my fittings out, take it over to the flare tool, put the fittings on, and then we can fit it up one last time. Should be good for that side.
Alright, so in the last few shots you saw Matt and Billy finishing up the brake lines. We didn't show is everything's bled and ready to go. So the brakes work great. So that's one more thing off the list. I want to give a very big thank you to Max for hooking us up with the brake parts to rebuild everything, and Old Yankee Speed for the adapter to the dual circuit brake line. This thing is getting closer and closer to going back together. A few more things and the body is ready to plop back on. So thanks guys for watching. Don't forget, in a week, Hershey's coming up. We are in row C as in chocolate, 4T as in Tom. And we're in spaces 25 through 27. So be sure to come on out. We'll be setting up there Tuesday, be there through the week. I'm not sure if Matt's staying till Saturday or not, but be sure to stop by. We'll have plenty of old Ford parts. We'll have shirts, we'll have hats, stickers for free, all kinds of stuff. So be sure to stop by and say hello. And thanks guys for watching. We do videos on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. Catch you guys later.